I was talking to a guy not too long ago, sitting there across from me on Zoom. This guy, he looks strong. He's got the beautifully manicured beard, big wide shoulders, the whole thing. And he says, Jason, I don't know what's happening. I am supposed to be solid. But now I break down so easily. And I told him the same thing that I've told a bunch of other guys. Nothing is actually breaking. Something is finally trying to break through, but not break down. Because when a man is vulnerable, genuinely vulnerable, he isn't becoming weak. He's becoming real. And that's the part nobody ever taught me growing up. I can only assume, I'm willing to bet money on it. Nobody ever taught you growing up either. Nobody ever walked into our bedrooms when we were boys and said, hey, whatever you're carrying, you don't have to carry alone. That it's safe for you to feel what you're feeling. It's safe for you to speak your truth. It's safe for you to come to me. And so we learned silence. We learned suppression. We learned to cope by shutting down. And by the time we're all grown, that way of coping, it becomes our identity. But the truth that most men never really hear about vulnerability is that vulnerability is not the opposite of strength. Vulnerability is the doorway to strength. I've seen guys who have been hardened by decades. Military guys, blue-collar guys, CEOs, directors of these big global corporations. Even single dads, you name it. And the moment they let themselves speak, just speak the truth of what they've lived through, their whole life starts shifting. They start breathing again. They start sleeping again. Their relationships start healing. Their kids start trusting them again. Their wife stops looking at them like a bomb that might explode any second and starts seeing the man that she fell in love with. And that's what's wild, you guys. It's that it doesn't happen because these guys figured everything out. It happened because they finally told the truth. And you know what the Bhagavad Gita says, the religious text from Hinduism, is that there is nothing lost or wasted in the journey of self. It means you can't lose anything by being true to you. You do lose by pretending. And you only stay stuck by hiding. And listen, there's no spiritual text in the world that celebrates a man who hides from himself. Even the Bible is so clear about this. Psalm 34 says, the Lord is near the brokenhearted. Not the perfected, not the composed, not the men who pretend they're fine, the brokenhearted. The ones who have opened. The ones who finally say, okay, God, here I am. For real. This is all of me. And somehow in that honesty, something divine steps in. I've seen it too many times to question it now. One of the guys I coached months ago, in fact, he says, man, I've spent my whole life suppressing everything. I didn't even realize it because I thought that's what we were supposed to do. Big, strong men, they hold their head down and they just keep grinding. And the moment he started opening up, it wasn't that his world got easier. It's that he finally stopped fighting himself. And I think that's the part most men don't understand. You're not fighting your wife. You're not fighting your kids. You're not fighting your job. You're not fighting your past. You're fighting your own resistance to being human. And that is a battle that you will never win. I had another man share with me how he was about to snap. He's yelling. He's losing control. And he said something that really hit me here in the chest. He says, Jason, I tried so hard to hold it all together, but I didn't know how to be vulnerable without falling apart. And I told him, I'll tell you guys, you don't fall apart when you're vulnerable. You fall apart when you pretend you don't need vulnerability. I mean, look at Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. Look at Arjuna on the battlefield. Look at Buddha the moment he sat beneath the Bodhi tree, ready to face every single fear, every illusion, every shadow. In every one of those stories, vulnerability was not weakness. It was a surrendering to truth. It was the moment before the transformation. And you guys, the thing that modern neuroscience knows, suppression does not make emotions go away. It makes them louder. Now, the amygdala, the part of our brain, the part that's responsible for detecting threat, gets hyperactive when you bury emotion. And meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for judgment and reasoning and emotional regulation, that part shuts down. That means the exact thing that men think makes them strong, the shutting down, is the thing making them reactive. That's why so many guys tell me, Jason, I don't want to be this way. I don't want to explode. I don't want to withdraw. I don't want to numb out with drinking or porn or work or danger, but I don't know any other way. And you guys, the more you suppress, this is what science is telling us, the more you suppress, the more reactive you become. But the moment you start expressing, even just a little bit, naming what's real, naming what's painful, naming what scares you, the brain shifts. In the prefrontal cortex, it turns back on. You begin to access clarity again. Access choice. Your ability to respond. Like I told one of my other guys recently, your response ability. Your ability to respond. It's what gives men their power back. Not more force, not more silence, not being tough, but choice. And choice, it only returns through vulnerability. Now, I remember coaching a guy, and he said something so honest that it still gives me chills. He says, Jason, I didn't grow up knowing how to feel loved. So now that people actually love me, I don't even know how to receive it. And I told him, first of all, that's not brokenness. That's conditioning. You were conditioned to survive perceived love. You weren't conditioned to receive real love. And the moment he allowed himself to admit that truth, he started to soften. He opened, his shoulders dropped, his breathing steadied. He wasn't trying to be a hero anymore. He was just being a man, a human. And in that place, I swear, that's where God meets you. Now, the Buddha said, nothing ever goes away until it has taught us what we needed to learn. Now, some of you have been walking around with these lessons inside of your chest for 20, 30, 40 years. And you think that you're avoiding pain, but you're avoiding truth. You're avoiding the very doorway that leads you to your actual life. Vulnerability is the teacher you've been dodging. And sometimes being vulnerable isn't even about crying. Some of the strongest men I've coached don't even shed a tear at first. But vulnerability is when a man admits, I'm scared. I've got so much fear that I'm going to fail my kids. Or I feel so fucking unworthy. I don't know how to communicate. I want to, but I don't know how. The right words just won't come. Or I don't know how to let go of all of this anger that I'm holding on to. Or I've never learned how to ask for help. And honestly, you guys, every time a man speaks like that, I see the little boy in him. The boy who was told to shut up. The boy who was told to grow up too fast. The boy who was told that emotions make you weak. And when that little boy finally gets to speak, the man finally gets to breathe. So this is why so many of the guys that I coach, they end up laughing more, sleeping deeper, dreaming more, reconnecting with their kids, reconnecting with their wives. Because when you stop fighting emotions, your whole nervous system reorganizes. And one of my guys told me he's been dreaming again for the first time in years. He says, I don't know what's happening, but something in me feels alive again. And that's what vulnerability does. It doesn't destroy you. It resurrects you. So let me give you a couple practical things, some real neuroscience-backed things that I give all of my coaching clients all the time, okay? Things that you can use today. First thing is to label the emotion with precision, with like a surgical knife, you guys. You don't just say, I'm fine. You don't just say, you know what, I'm just stressed. I mean the real thing. I carry fear of disappointing my wife. I'm carrying a sense of overwhelm or shame. The act of just naming the emotion reduces the amygdala activation by up to 40%. It's facts. When you name it, your brain starts to calm down. You stop being hijacked. Now, second, slow the reactive loop. I teach a ton of guys the countdown technique because it really works. Start at 100 and just breathe slowly and count backward. Okay? It's going to re-engage the prefrontal cortex. You're going to lose track of your numbers and you're just going to stop yourself and bring yourself back to whatever number you remember last. But this gives you time to choose your response. This is practicing the ability to respond. I've had guys tell me that they love this exercise. It's that one exercise literally saved their relationship. It's simple, you guys. It's powerful. Now, third, do the inner child check-in. Can't even tell you how many breakthroughs come from this. When you're triggered, don't ask, what the hell is wrong with me? Ask, what part of me is asking for attention right now? This is the root of all emotional healing. Even in the Bible, you guys, Jesus says, let the little children come to me. There's something so divinely symbolic about welcoming a child and not rejecting him, not silencing him, welcoming him. And if God himself can say that, maybe men can learn to do the same thing within themselves. And the Bhagavad Gita reinforces this too. There's Arjuna, the story based around Arjuna. His entire transformation began when he admitted his fear, his confusion, his trembling. He literally told Krishna, my mind is unsteady. And instead of shaming him, Krishna guided him. Strength came after vulnerability, not before it. And in Buddhism too, it says the exact same thing. When we open to our suffering, compassion awakens. Every single spiritual tradition, you guys, they all agree. When a man opens, he rises. I think about all the guys who watch these videos and they sit there saying, yeah, this hits me. And maybe you're one of those guys right now. Maybe you're sitting there saying, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't want to explode. I don't want to shut down. I don't want to lose my family. And I don't want to lose myself. I just want someone to show me how to change. And you guys, that's exactly why I do the work that I do. Why I offer one-on-one coaching. Because this type of transformation, it requires guidance. Every guy that I've ever worked with started where you are right now, watching a video, wondering if change was even possible for him, wondering if going through another failed therapy session is going to be the last time before he breaks, wondering if vulnerability is going to make him weak. But I'm telling you, the guys who step into this, it didn't break them, it built them. One of my clients a few months ago said something that stuck with me. He said, Jason, I used to think that showing emotion made me less of a man, that I was stepping too much into my feminine energy. But now I realize that hiding emotion made me less alive. And that's the shift right there. You're not meant to be a stone. You're meant to be a man, a father, a partner, a leader, a soul, a being capable of the full experience of life. And none of those things are possible without vulnerability, without authenticity. And I want you to imagine something for a second. Imagine your son, your daughter, your future kids, whatever applies here. Imagine them growing up thinking that they have to hide everything the way you hid everything. Imagine them believing that their emotions are dangerous, that love must be earned, that pain must be swallowed, that honesty is a threat, that vulnerability is weakness. Imagine that. And now, imagine the opposite. Imagine they learn from you that it's safe to feel, it's safe to talk, it's safe to be human. Imagine they watch you open, and because of that, they grow up healthier than you were ever allowed to be. That is leadership. That is masculinity. That is legacy. And look, I get it. Being vulnerable feels unnatural. Every single guy says the same thing. This feels weird. Of course it does. You've spent 20 to 50 years practicing the exact opposite. If you trained for decades to only use your right hand, of course, switching to your left would feel unfamiliar. I dare you guys, record a video and post it online of you throwing a football with your opposite hand. You know, it's different. It's unfamiliar, but unfamiliar isn't wrong. Unfamiliar is just unpracticed. And the beautiful thing, I've watched this happen so many times that it still amazes me, is that when a man finally starts opening up, even just a little bit, the world around him, it starts to soften. His relationships heal, his tone changes, his kids run to him again. His wife starts feeling safe again. He stops living like a pressure cooker ready to blow, and he starts becoming someone he actually likes. Another client of mine, he told me last week that for the first time in his life, he felt joy bubbling up out of nowhere. Not because life got perfect, but because he did the internal work to stop fighting himself. And when a guy reaches that place, everything becomes possible. Everything. So if you're watching this and something in you is saying, Jason, I think it's time, then brother, it probably is. You can schedule a free call anytime. The link is in the description. That's where this real work happens, where guys learn to process their emotions, heal their wounds, break the destructive patterns, and become men who lead with strength, with openness. Not one or the other, but both. Because vulnerability is not the end of your masculinity, it's the beginning of it. And I'm going to leave you with this. In the Bible, the Christian Bible, God asks Adam, where are you? Right? Anybody remember this story? It's not because God didn't know. It's because Adam was full of shame. Adam himself did not know where he was. He lost his true, authentic, vulnerable authenticity, right? Men spend their whole lives running from themselves because of their shame. And God's question still echoes to you right now in this moment. Where are you? He doesn't want to see your mask anymore. Not the bravado. You. So where the hell are you, really? In the Bhagavad Gita, too, Krishna says, lift yourself by yourself. The most powerful transformation a man will ever experience begins the moment he stops waiting for someone else to save him and he starts telling himself the truth. And lastly, in Buddhism, guys, it's said, in the seeing, there is freedom. When you see yourself clearly, without the judgment, without the shame, you become free. That vulnerability is not weakness. That is clarity. That is strength. It is the doorway to everything you want your life to become. And I hope one day soon, maybe even today, that you stop guarding that door and you finally open it. And I'm telling you again, if you want help with that, if you want a coach who will walk you through it with you, step by step, schedule that free call. Let's start that process. I would be honored to work with you. And listen, YouTube thinks that the next video that they're throwing up right here is going to be just for you. Go ahead and click on that one next. I'll talk to you guys soon.